When the most irreverent voice in comedy becomes your moral compass, you know something profound has shifted in our cultural landscape. Here's something I never thought I'd witness. Tim Dillon, the razor-sharp comedian known for his brutally cynical takes and no-holds-barred commentary, delivered what might be the most compassionate and thoughtful response to Charlie Kirk's tragic assassination that I've heard from anyone in the public sphere. Now, if you followed Dillon's career at all, you'll know this Los Angeles-based comic doesn't exactly specialize in warm, fuzzy moments. His brand thrives on pushing boundaries, making uncomfortable observations, and saying the things others wouldn't dare voice publicly. The man literally dressed up as a deceased healthcare CEO for a Netflix bit. Subtlety isn't his strong suit. But here's where it gets controversial. In an era where our political divisions seem to grow deeper by the day, it took someone from the comedy world, not our politicians, not our thought leaders, not our media personalities, to remind us what basic human decency looks like. Dillon's response to the assassination, and more importantly, to the disturbing celebrations that followed online, cut straight to the heart of something many of us have been struggling to articulate. I think you're at a very bad place, spiritually, if you're celebrating the murder of a person like that, he stated with a clarity that felt almost jarring, coming from someone who typically trades in chaos and controversy. What makes this moment even more striking is Dillon's self-awareness about his own position. He freely admits he's not a sanctimonious guy and references his own provocative content as evidence. Yet somehow, when faced with genuine tragedy, he managed to tap into something deeper, a fundamental recognition of shared humanity that transcends political disagreements. And this is the part most people miss. Dillon openly acknowledged his substantial disagreements with Kirk's positions. As a gay comedian from the West Coast, their worldviews likely clashed on numerous fundamental issues. But here's what separated him from the online mob. He understood that ideological differences don't justify celebrating someone's violent death. You do not have to agree with someone to not enjoy their murder, Dillon explained. And honestly, the fact that this even needs to be said in 2025 should give us all pause. The timing of this perspective feels particularly significant when you consider the social media landscape following Kirk's death. Large segments of online communities were caught openly celebrating the assassination, treating it like some kind of victory rather than the tragic loss of a husband and father. The contrast between their reactions and Dillon's measured response highlights just how far some people have drifted from basic empathy. What's fascinating, and perhaps a little depressing, is that it took someone whose job description literally includes being offensive to model appropriate grief and respect for human life. While others were posting celebration memes and inflammatory takes, the guy who makes his living saying outrageous things was the one calling for dignity and humanity. Now, I'll be honest, not everyone is buying into Dillon's apparent change of heart. Some critics are questioning whether this newfound moral stance is genuine or just another performance. But here's my take. Does it really matter if the message itself resonates with truth? The larger question this raises is uncomfortable but necessary. What does it say about our society when a shock comedian demonstrates more emotional intelligence and moral clarity than entire segments of our political discourse? Are we so entrenched in our tribal thinking that we've lost the ability to separate the person from their politics? Maybe Dillon's response represents something fleeting, a momentary blip of sanity, before we all retreat back to our respective corners to resume the endless culture war. Or perhaps it signals something more hopeful. A recognition that underneath all our political posturing, we're still dealing with real human beings who deserve basic respect, even in death. The cynic in me wonders if this moment of clarity will last beyond the next news cycle. Will we remember this lesson when the next controversial figure faces tragedy? Or will we slip back into the comfortable habit of dehumanizing those who disagree with us? In times like these, when empathy feels like a rare commodity and nuance seems almost extinct, maybe we need more voices like Dillon's, people willing to step outside their usual personas to remind us of our shared humanity, even if that voice comes from the most unexpected source imaginable. So here's my controversial question to you. If it takes a shock comedian to teach us basic human decency, what does that say about the rest of us? Are we so far gone that we need jesters to be our moral teachers? And more importantly, are you willing to follow Dillon's example the next time someone you disagree with faces genuine tragedy? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Dillon's response represents genuine growth, or is this just performative morality? And can we as a society find our way back to treating our political opponents as human beings worthy of basic respect?